Hi everyone, welcome to today's show. I'm Jim Fitzpatrick. We're excited to have on our show today Joseph Michelli. Joseph is an internationally recognized speaker, author, consultant, and expert in the area of customer experience. It's a pleasure to have you once again back on our show, Joseph. Welcome.
It's great to be back, Jim. Thanks.
Sure. I know that you travel the world consulting with companies, large and small, on this area of customer experience. How would you explain or define a compelling customer experience?
Well, I think the old days we could get by with our products alone. We might have elevated value by increasing the quality of service we provided when we delivered those products to market. Today, customers want it all. They want what they want, when they want it, where they want it, how they want it, as memorably as possible. And that is the customer experience. How do we deliver not just practical value through our products, but emotional values like trust or feeling respected or you personalized this experience for me?
How important is having the right customer experience to a company's overall success? We see a lot of companies out there succeeding right now. Does that mean they're all giving a good customer experience?
I think the ones that are succeeding are definitely succeeding and will sustain their success are delivering a great customer experience. And I think customer experiences come in different shapes and sizes depending upon your strategy. If you take a customer experience at a Costco, it's very different than a customer experience at a Ritz-Carlton, but both of them know who they are and execute against that. So in some cases, it might be about making sure the experience is devoid of a lot of extra bells and whistles so that it's cost effective. And in another case, it might be very enriched with lots of nurture. So it kind of depends on what your strategy is, but once you have the strategy, it normally is a combination of technology and people being in the right places at the right time for the customer.
Right, and I would imagine what you're putting out there in the marketplace in the way of the customer's expectations of your business and what they can expect when they come in. So at Costco, I might go in and say, well, yeah, it's a big, huge warehouse, with no carpet and high, bright ceilings, but it's packed with inventory that's going to be available at cheap prices. Where if I go into a Ritz-Carlton, like you mentioned, I'm expecting first-class customer service from the time I walk in the door. So I would imagine a lot of it has to do with the expectation of the consumer that comes into your place of business or engages with you online, right?
Yeah, truly it is. That's brilliant, Jim, because expectations frame it all, and we set those expectations in the way we communicate what our brand is about. And sometimes people over-aspire, over-promise what they can deliver through their brand, or they have no real center core of what they want to deliver, and thus they haven't communicated anything, and they wonder why customers are disappointed. So a lot of this comes out to understanding what is your unique value proposition, who's the right market for that, and then how do you deliver an experience that pays off that value at all the most important touch points along the journey of your customer.
Sure. So per your website, it took a minute before this interview today, and on there you've got some interesting stats. It says that the customer engagement, it is a 9-year low right now. Why is that, and what are some of the ways that companies can do better when engaging with their customers?
Yeah, let's make that question a little bit more ominous, realizing that most brands are trying to deliver extraordinary customer experiences. So here we have this emphasis on doing it, and then we have customers that aren't receiving it. And the answer, I think, largely is the increasing expectations of customer, how technology has driven us to believe that now means super now, not just tomorrow. The expectations of customers are certainly rising, and I think some brands are not even beginning to keep pace with what customer expectations are. So truly it is our job as business owners to try to understand what we can invest in that will allow us to be as responsive to the changing needs and the increasing expectations of customers.
Yeah, for sure. In your book, which is a phenomenal book for those of you that haven't picked it up yet, Driven to Delight, Joseph really outlines what happens at Mercedes-Benz to deliver world-class customer experience. But you put in there that how some companies aspire to, and other companies like Mercedes-Benz USA execute to deliver customer delight. In your experience, what are the differing factors that separate the two?
Well, first you have to define for your entire employee base what you want customers to think, feel, and believe about your brand. And once you communicate that to your employees, then you have to look at every process, every person-facing issue that is out there that will either deliver against that desired outcome or not. Then you've got to empower your people to fix the problems. You've got to have your people see the entire customer journey. So a lot of that involves customer journey mapping. There's a whole series of overall change management strategies needed to go from a state of just being okay in customer experience to being extraordinary. And lots of brands don't do the long multi-year journey with investments across the landscape of people, process, and technology.
Yeah, and why is that? Just takes too long, or?
Yeah, I think we want to microwave everything today, right? I mean, we want to microwave the customer experience, and it's not doable. It is a journey. There isn't necessarily a final destination, and I think you have to be willing to sustain a long-term course.
For sure. And it's got to come from the very, very top down, doesn't it? I mean, the chairman of the board has got to buy into delivering an excellent customer experience, and then it's got to flow through the company from the top to the bottom, correct?
Yeah, I've written articles just for CEOs saying if you don't do it, it's going to be really hard for your organization to ever get around on it. That said, I think if you're stuck in the middle of an organization where your leaders are not necessarily embracing it, I think you keep doing the right thing by the customers and getting slapped down until either somebody changes at the top or you move on to an organization that's going to love the fact that you have that heart for customers.
Sure. Joseph Michelli, the man when it comes to companies leaning on for delivering good customer experience. Thank you so much for joining us today on today's show. I want to have you back to talk about some other issues in the future.
Hey, thanks, Jim. We'll be here.
Great.